From the city of Johannesburg, whose basic drainage system has been blamed for putting countless lives at risk during floods, to the hunger challenges brought on by drought in sub-Saharan Africa, it's clear that legislation to enforce a culture of preparedness for natural disasters is vital.
Not having an updated legislation framework then means that one, you run into the risk of having a response-oriented or a response-only approach to disaster reduction or to just disaster management in general. And this then might mean then that instead of having a proactive approach to building resilience, you're actually having a reactive approach. And this has been seen by studies to cost 7 times more than reducing the risk before the event has happened.
Infrastructure development is a prime goal for many African countries, but the lack of legislative protection results in poor risk management.
We've seen as much as the disaster events are increasing, the mortality rates are reducing. However, the economic losses are increasing. And this can also be attributed to the fact that Africa is first urbanizing. We have a big urban population, which also brings together the aspect of combining risk factors.
In 2015, the UN member states adopted the Sendai framework in Japan to give countries guidelines on how to behave towards disasters.
So the Sendai framework recommends that strategies actually take into consideration factors that might lead to the generation of new risk, the exacerbation of the existing risk, and also to make sure that you take into account and you monitor the residual risk.
But post-disaster reporting seems to be a weakness for many. The UNDRR says data reporting poses a challenge to planning ahead and fulfilling the framework's 2030 goals.
So the baseline data is lacking, you see? So yes, so it's a really, really big problem. Now, but on top of that, we have the Sendai Framework monitoring system, which countries are supposed to report on how they are progressing, like if they have strategies or not, if they have data on mortality or not, how many people are dying, and things like that. And of the reporting, there's some indicators that don't have data.
While the majority of the responsibility to reduce and mitigate risks rests with member states, the Disaster Risk Reduction Office says it's also up to the communities and the media to recognize the risks and hold government accountable. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Hitekani Magwedze, Mombasa in Kenya.